Hi there, Dave Selezen Hughes here. Today I'm going to be doing a build. I've done something a bit different. This is the first time I've kind of branched out and doing something a bit different than streaming. Doing a direct video, going to go onto YouTube, hopefully for the first time later today. What I'm doing is, some time ago on Kickstarter there was a Pine64 single board computer was kickstarted successfully. Did it very well, got something like 3-4 times what it needed to get. Got more than 1 million. It's a very popular project, very good project. I think the first 64-bit single board computer, if you've seen a Raspberry Pi or Arduino board or something like that, you've got the kind of idea what we're talking about. So what I'm going to do is, I've got the last bit of the kit today, I'm going to put it all together, and I thought I'd do a bit of a video, try something a bit different, see what you think. If you like it, please put a like on the comments, or do something that actually makes sense. Like, thumbs up, or say something in the comments. As you can see, I'm not very good at this so far. I'm only just trying it out today for the first time. So yep, let me know. Hope you enjoy the video, and let me know if you want to see more of this kind of stuff on this channel. So take care, guys. So this is the Pine64. It's a Kickstarted project that was started sort of halfway through last year. The board itself is this item here, and there are various other bits and pieces that I'll go through. The last part that arrived was this, the ABS case, which has had some problems in actually getting it produced, so it's taken a while for it to come. So now that it's come today, I thought I'd have a quick bit of a build in it. So I'll go over what it is roughly. As I said, it's a single board computer that was kickstarted at the middle of last year roughly. This is the board itself, Pine64, 64-bit computing in one board, nice little box. That's the adapter for the thing. And this is the board itself. What it's designed for is maybe sort of those who are slightly more technical than the average computer user, who want to build something themselves, customize it, and have something they can have as something like the Raspberry Pi type thing, but with better processing power. So that is the board itself. So I'll try and hold it in a safe way so you can see it. So that's the Pine64. This is the 2 gig version, I believe. I actually can't remember what I bought. I'll put the stats for it probably in the links in the comments or something below, in the description below. So we have 2 USB plugs there, we have an audio plug there, we have some Arduino connectors and other connectors. I've already put a memory card into the slot there, and on this side we have a network connection, which I won't be using because I actually have a wireless board, and the HDMI connector, which again I won't be using because I have the touchscreen, which I'll go into in a sec. That is your micro USB port there, which can be used either for charging or for power. So what I'll go through is, this board will be used as a touchscreen, so like a kind of a fat tablet, because it's quite fat, because that case is quite large. It'll have wireless connectivity, it'll have Android operating system on it, and it will have a touchscreen, which is in this box here. It will not have an internal battery because I didn't buy the internal battery pack for it. I didn't feel that it was a necessary thing to buy. I may change my mind later on. It also has a separate wireless connector which I've purchased there, which I'll now open up. Now the thing is, it's obviously intended to be aimed at professionals, and the Kickstarter didn't include things like instruction manuals and that kind of thing. So there are actually no instructions with this at all. So we have the wireless connector just there. So that is, again, it's another Arduino style connector board. So a very small board. Let's see if we can get some focus going there. Maybe not. So again, you have to excuse the production quality. This is the first time I've tried to do something like this, and this setup hasn't been great. So I have that, and the other thing that came with it was the separately produced touchscreen. Now, if I remember rightly, I believe this is produced by a third party, so it's not a complete thing. And we have the touchscreen here. We also have a power switch, which I'm not going to be connecting because I don't have the kit here to do that right now, but I will possibly do that later. We'll see. So the touchscreen is in a nice little bag there. that out. There we have the back of the touchscreen itself and the actual touchscreen. So I have actually connected together this kit already, but obviously without the main thingy, without the case, just to make sure everything worked okay, and it did. So I'm quite happy with that as it was. So, okay, what we'll do is we'll start putting this stuff together and see how we go. Now I'm going to probably not talk much through this because I'm going to be trying to concentrate, but obviously it's going to be a learning voyage for me and a learning voyage for you. So what we have here is the case, a couple of ribbon connectors, not sure what they're for right now, the case itself, and some connecting plates and holders and a bunch of screws. So these are all what I would assume are going to hold everything in place around the case. So I think the main thing, what we'll start with, is if we take some of that out, there's obviously a cardboard thing there, I'm not sure what that's for. It may be a backing plate for, I was going to say it might be a backing plate for the Pine64 board itself, but it doesn't fit, so I'm not entirely sure what that's for. So we'll see. Put that to one side just now, and put that back on there. So, open up all of our screws. See, I've not done any prep for this, other than trying to get the sound to work. I'm not wanting to spend too long, so obviously I'm very aware that I'm having a break from actually working on my world famous RPG today. I've done a little bit of stuff this morning, some stuff this afternoon, as well as other very important world shattering things that us family people have to do in the day. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Raspberry Pi to one side for the moment. So I'll put that over there. I'm going to put that at the back there. I'm going to put that over beside it. Now I'll probably make a few mistakes, a few technical mistakes possibly along the road. That's why I'm trying to say that I'm going to focus on what I'm doing rather than being rather than kind of worrying about talking too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly test fit some of this stuff. So, okay, first of all, what I can see is the Raspberry Pi. I'm not going to make that mistake quite a lot today. So the Pine64 would seem to fit in there. So that's obviously the bit where our Pine64 board will go. So that all kind of fits quite nicely on there. And that actually fits in place very well. So that would appear to be where most of the doobies are going to be going. So we have access to the ports in that side, as you can see, and we have access to pretty much all of the systems in that side as well, which allows customizability for the board. So what would appear to be is we have the wireless board there. Obviously on here we have the connector that goes on there. Now if I'll match that up, it's all very handily marked actually. So you probably won't be able to see that on there, but that top part here is where the wireless board goes. So Wi-Fi BT, as it says on there. Just tries to get it centered. It probably won't focus, but that little bit of text there says wireless Wi-Fi BT, and around the circuit board, around the plugs, it has numbers on it. The same numbers are repeated on the wireless board itself. Come on, let's have some focus. focus. There we go. So we have the numbers on there, so that all obviously fits around here. So I'm going to plug that on, like so. So that's good. That's all plugged in, so I would assume that's all I need to do. That's all I need to do to make the wireless work, is plug that Arduino board onto the top. Like so. Come on, let's have some focus. Hello? Focus. Oi! So anyway, this I'd assume is the antenna. Not entirely sure where that goes at the moment, but we'll probably find that out as we do all this stuff. So obviously then, we're looking at how all this stuff connects together. We're going to be looking at plugging that on like that. The connector for the video, I believe, is here. So this cable needs to slot in there. This would then mean there's probably a particular way around that the plug has to go. So if that's going to be coming off that side, that means that obviously on the back of the touchscreen here, the accompanying connector is there. So that is going to connect onto this. And this little extender cable here. So that will plug onto that. It's a zero insertion force module, it's called. Like so. So that's our first connection. Good. That will obviously, this is then going to have to connect onto this plug here. Now as I look at it, I'm not entirely confident that it's going to be long enough to manage to go all the way around, which may be why they've included these new cables, which look to be the same size, which they are indeed. So what I may do is I may unconnect that one and put this one in its place. That slides on there and that clips in place like that. So now I have a much longer and more flexible way to connect my board together. Okay, now there are very little in the way of markings to say which way around this case actually goes round. Nothing on it that says Pine64, at least on that side of it. And we have, I'm going to move that out of the way just now, I'm going to put all this kit over here for the moment. This on the back of it does have Pine64 written, but it's designed, cut the light on that, there you go. It's designed that it can go either way around, so very clever, very good bit of design. But we do actually have something a bit different, because there is a notch in that side that there isn't on this side. So that notch must go somewhere. So I'm assuming that the notch is going to go somewhere where there's something to go. So the notch is probably going to go this side, where it allows the USB. So that's the way up it goes. So Pine64 goes that way up. And the only problem I actually have now is working out which way around the touchscreen is meant to go. So the writing, obviously, on the back of the touchscreen panel, which is there, is obviously going to have to be that way around. Yeah? So that writing is now the same way around as it is on the Pine64. So I'm going to assume, therefore, that the touchscreen needs to go in this way around. So what I shall do is, for the first time, I will take off this protective covering. Now this is not the best setup I have here, to be quite honest with you. for doing this work, because I'm leaning very far forward in my chair. So that will slot nicely into there. And there we go. Right. So that's the touchscreen in place. Now what we have is we have a number of little brackets. These brackets, I'm going to assume, will go onto these corner pins. So let me move closer to the camera. So there's 4 corners there. Now we obviously, I would say, need to go this way around. So obviously they have labels on them. So there's 2 that say L and 2 that say R. Now remember, I'm looking at this upside down at the moment, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it round so I'm actually looking at it the right way up, left/right. And it doesn't actually specify which way left and right are. Nothing on the actual box says L or R, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. And I'm going to just say where I think they need to go. So obviously there's this one here. I would assume is going to be on there. This one, which says R, is probably going to go on there. That one says L is probably going to go there. And that one, which says L, is probably going to go there. Okay, so those 4 brackets will hold all that stuff in place. So let's screw a couple of things into place. Now I've checked that all the screws I've got, other than 2, are all the same size. So the likelihood is that everything is going to be able to be screwed in place without having to worry about what screw goes where. So in a sense, that's probably quite a good thing to do for a first build. It's the first online build anyway. Okay, I'm gonna sit a little further forward because I am not comfy in the slightest. I'm gonna bring that a little closer to me so that I can work a little more comfortably. Another self-tapper in there. And another self-tapper in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this thing and I'm going to put that on this. I'm going to put that on top of the anti-static bag. There it came in for now. Put it over to one side so that I don't have to worry too much about where it is or what I'm doing with it. Okay. This is going to be possibly the first video that I've done specifically for just YouTube, rather than a streamed video or something like that. So I'd appreciate it, guys, if you watch this and you enjoy it and you think it's fun or you think it's a useful thing. Then leave a comment, leave a like, leave a thumbs up thing, whatever it is you do on Facebook. Shut up. On YouTube. Obviously, I'm not going for a professional attitude at this point in time. I'm just going for I'm a hobby guy who does stuff that he does. So things will improve, hopefully. Obviously, Twitch is a very live medium, so there's not a lot of time to actually get things done properly on there, and you just go live with whatever you can manage. So I'm hoping things are going to go okay. And if you like this, then I may do more. I do have some things I do. I mean, I get loot crates. I've been getting them for a while, and I was planning on doing unboxing things with them. But just time constraints, the same as everything else in my life. It's one of those things that I can do the video and then it's a matter of getting it uploaded and getting off the because it was the phone I used to record it. Now that I've got this set up here, depending on how things go with it, I may... Oh, is that everything? That's everything screwed in. Done. Alright. So we have two other mountings there. We have this mounting here, which has a little thing on it. So I'm assuming that it's going to hold that down. As I say, there's no instructions for these things. The Pine64 people haven't actually done any instructions or videos for this kind of stuff because, essentially, I suppose, because it's a very simple thing to do. I mean, it's not hard work by any stretch of the imagination, is it? Let's face it, to do this. But it's obviously if they're looking at applying this to a wide range of demographics, then as a little project, it'd be good to have something just to make sure that you're on the right track. I consider myself to be fairly technical, given I've spent my entire life working in IT or programming and stuff like that. So I'd assume that I have some ability to do this. I used to be a certified laptop repair engineer as well. I still am to an extent, obviously. I've not used that particular career path of mine for a while. So it's not great. There you go. So, right. So that's the case. That's the case. But if I turn that around now, it shouldn't have any play in it. And I have a more or less, secure. A more or less secure touchscreen in a panel. Okay. So there we go. Right, so this is our main display cable here. What I'll do is, because now we have to put the Raspberry Pi itself... Oh, there I am again, Raspberry Pi. Behave yourself. The Pine64 into there. So because that has to slot on top of there is a connector cable just here that needs to go onto the board as well. So I need to remove that from the sticky thing that's holding it in place there. Get it out of the way. So what I'll do is I'll use the sticky tape to stick it to the case, just like that, so I've got plenty of room to clear. And then we'll actually mount this little bad boy into where it needs to be. So I'll hold it by that, tuck those into the slots. I should line up those screws rather nicely, which it does. And screw our board in place. I'll use the cross corners method of screwing it in place, because that's how I learned to do these things. One thing I'm kind of regretting is that, I mean, I got kind of pissed off a couple of weeks ago, and decided that rather than having two boxes of component parts lying around the place, I would actually build my Vector 3 3D printer. If anybody heard of 3D Create and Print, it's a magazine collection that was brought out nearly 2 years ago now, roughly, to allow you to collect and build your own 3D printer, with some magazines that give you instructions how to build it, instructions how to use it, some little free models that you can download, and hints and tips and the history and theory of 3D printing. A great magazine. It's actually really, really good. If I'm being honest, it's actually the best of these collections that I've actually seen. It's been very well presented, it's been very well done. Everything has been given to you, and it's a very, very simple thing to build as well. So it was very, very impressive. So I was most impressed. Now, we immediately see a problem here. That is probably going to stop the build, because let's face it, here we have a cable that I have no way of actually connecting to the far side of the Raspberry Pi. That is a problem. Okay, that means that we have the issue where we now have to unbolt everything, turn the screen the other way around. Which is going to cause loads of problems. Okay, that's a bit of a design problem there. Because what we have now is we have this cable. If I lift it up a bit, let you see it a bit clearer. This cable here needs to plug into that plug there. This one. And that's it, pretty much at full stretch there, so there's no way that's going to plug in there. We also have this cable that needs to plug into there, which is no problem at all. However, in order to get that to plug into there, we're going to have to turn the touchscreen round, because we can't turn this round because all the slots are in the right place. We're going to have to turn that round so that it's facing the other way around, which means that is then going to be, if we turn that round, it's then going to be underneath the Pine64's board. I've called it Raspberry Pi again, haven't I, a couple of times there. And also, this part is going to be under the board as well, so it's going to have to be flipped round. I mean, luckily there is quite a fair bit of clearance in there, so we should be able to manage. We should be able to do that without any major problems. It's just going to be a bit of a design nightmare, I think, to be honest with you. So while I'm unscrewing it, we'll carry on talking, because I'm obviously not going to be doing any editing on this video. I may edit this stuff out, I don't know. But if I don't, then at least you've got this bit on there. But I may cut this bit out, to be honest with you. So let's, now I'm thinking if I just loosen this side, remove the part, the board out of the way first. No, I'm going to have to take the whole damn thing out. God damn it. So yeah, what kind of prompted the Pine64? I mean, what's the history of the board? Essentially, it's another one of these things. Raspberry Pi has obviously managed to kind of kick the whole single board computer thing into high gear. Arduino boards are something that's been around for a lot longer than the Raspberry Pi, but obviously the marketing behind the Raspberry Pi was a lot more public, and therefore it became a lot more popular. It's a 32-bit computer, so it's not as powerful in the sort of CPU sense as this is. But the Raspberry Pi is a very, very special bit of kit. The Pine64 takes that to the next level and gives you 64-bit processing power, which is a lot faster, and brings it on a par more with sort of today's mobile technology like phones and tablets and so on, and allows you to create something like a slightly more powerful, well, not like, but something that's a little bit more powerful than your Raspberry Pi can manage to do. Obviously, Raspberry Pi is now coming up with other ideas to catch up, but this was basically kickstarted by a couple of guys a year and a half ago, roughly. Who have then sort of organised people together, and they got a fair amount of money for it. They got 1.2 million, 1.4 million, something like that. Got a lot more than what they asked for anyway. So that was good. They did very well. Well, kudos to them. So how am I going to get this out now? I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah. Right, so now we're back to where we started from. So if I turn this around and then slot it back into there, there's no difference in the way that it looks from there anyway, so that's fine. Okay. Yeah, so basically the guys put together the kit and started selling it. They obviously offered a few other prize rewards on there as well, with things like cases add-on boards and all that kind of stuff, which all came out gradually as the Kickstarter progressed, and even after the Kickstarter finished, you can order extras. It took a lot longer than they thought to get everything sorted out. There had some quality issues with the components, there had some quality issues with the touchscreen, there had some quality issues with the cases, so they were beset by a lot of problems. But what really makes this one stand out for me has been the amount of really quite shocking behaviour from Kickstarter backers in relation to this project. Because people who've not got their kit on time, when it was said they were going to get it, despite all the warnings and disclaimers and the knowledge that Kickstarters tend to run over, is that there was people threatening to kill themselves, or people threatening to go and kill the people that were trying to build this thing because they were taking their time about it. And I mean, they were telling us stories that people were turning up to the factory where they were building these things and threatening to kill everybody, threatening to blow the building up and all this sort of shit, just because it was a few weeks late, or a few months late as it turned out to be. And I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ, man, it's a Kickstarter. If you're that desperate to get a single board computer and you can't wait the amount of time that these people are saying you're going to wait, then go and buy a fucking Raspberry Pi. Sorry, language. Go and buy a Raspberry Pi, or go and buy something else that's actually in the shelves. In the shelves? In the shops. Or on the shelves. Just go and get it. Stop stressing. So, I mean, there was a horrendous amount of this stuff going on with them, and I felt sorry for the guys. I mean, the case thing came this morning. And so obviously I wanted to put this thing together now because I've just got the case. But what I did was I made a point, actually, of actually emailing the guys on Kickstarter and saying, right, my last part arrived, my case has finally got here. Thanks very much. I appreciate the effort you guys have gone to make this thing for us all and design it and make sure the quality is spot on, because it is. I mean, it's a lovely case. It is what it is. But they could have made it look cheap. They could have 3D printed it and just left it as a raggedy bit of kit just to stick your thing into. But no, they've gone into some serious effort making this a really nice bit of kit. And that's the thing that takes the time. You want quality, you have to spend the time making that quality count. And they've done that with this. They have really done it. So it's a very good bit of kit. So one thing I would say is I'm not entirely sure whether, obviously the instructions that I said that didn't come with it. It would have been quite useful to have had the instructions to say which way around to put the touchscreen in, so that I didn't make the mistake I just made. I'm shaking like a leaf today, crying out loud. Would have saved me a bit of time, would have saved me a bit of effort. But we're there, we've got there, we're back at this stage again. I need to obviously fold that over. I need that now to be on this side. So if I just stick that on there just now, let's do it a bit more securely than what we just did. That'll do. So we'll pop that on there. Pop that. I'm hoping that's going to fit under there. I have to do that thing, but you can fold these in half and it doesn't really make much difference. So that again now goes back in there, and everything seems to fit quite nicely. Right, okay. I've got a bit of bounce from this. I'm hoping that won't be an issue. So that's the wrong size screw for a start. So this is meant to be a very quick build. That's just doubled our build time. Never mind. Live and learn, eh? Live and learn. That's why they say you should test fit everything first. Make sure you get all the connections the right way around before you start screwing things together. And if I'd done that at the start of this build, I wouldn't be having this problem now. And look, I've just gone against everything that I say, and I've not used cross-corner method of screwing things together. That's because I'm in a hurry. And because I don't really want to be doing everything twice. So I don't want to be making you guys watch this video for longer than you need to. So that's us back together. Did you enjoy that? still not entirely sure what these are for. I'm wondering if it's just protective stuff, or if it's something you can do something else with, but there's nothing else that seems to be built to do. I mean, it does slot in there. It doesn't fit in there because it's not big enough for the screws. Unless it's an extender plate for something else. I don't know. I don't even know what these screws are for, because I think I've screwed everything in now. Nothing else to really screw on. So that's an interesting thing. There you go. The thing I do notice is that there's no way to access this once it's in the case. So I'm not sure whether that's a deliberate thing or not. But anyway. So where are these others? I mean, there's a screw there and there's a screw there. So it's a screw hole there and a screw hole there. A screw hole there and a screw hole there. And there's a screw hole there. Do they do anything? Does that fit? I mean, that fits. Well, look, that's what it's for, look. That goes on there. Ah. So, what purpose does it serve then? Is it just something to put in there? I'll put it in. I'll put it on and I'll secure it in place. I think I've got the right screws here. So I'm thinking these little screws might have been the ones I was meant to use to secure the board. I'm not going to screw them all the way in. I'm just going to screw them kind of half on. That's gone a bit squint. Because it's not really a load-bearing mechanism, is it? It's just a blanking plate for something. Which is fine. I'm sure it'll have some kind of purpose, maybe a heatsink. It's cardboard, it probably isn't going to conduct anything, is it? Let's face it. Okay, so I'll screw that in place. Which is where I assume it's meant to go. What purpose does it serve? Who knows? And then I'm going to move my, what I assume is my wireless antenna, over to here out the way just now. And then I'm going to try and connect these. So our blue connector here, no, let's do the little one first. So let's go a bit further up there. Now that needs to be connected in kind of this way round. So this is going to be a bit fiddly. So you'll have to excuse me if you can't see what I'm doing very well. I'll just try and move as far across there as I can. Slot that in. That looks like it's in. Fold that down. Push that into place. Is that on? Is that down? Looks it. Okay, and same with this one. It has to be kind of twisted round a little bit. No, it doesn't, because that's not the right slot. Because the slot is there. Oops. Did tell you I did this before, didn't I? Right, so that slots on there. So that would appear to be built. Well, now I need to power the thing, don't I? So what I'm thinking is I might be able to use... Oh, I'm just wondering if I might be able to use a USB slot on a computer for this rather than having to use an adapter. Now let's see. So, before we put the back on, let's plug this bad boy in. Micro USB plug going on now. What? A light lit up. That's always good. Let's flip it over, see what we've got. And there we go! We are cooking with gas, people. There's me, Luke. Hello. You don't want to be looking at me, you want to be looking at the Android. So there we go, powered by Android. Obviously that OS was installed and tested a while ago when I did the first build. Pine64, looking good, looking good. Tilt it up a bit further so that it's not catching the light quite so badly. As I say, experimentation with how this all works, we should be fine. Just wait for it to boot up. So yeah, as I say, it's Android powered. It's basically a little touchscreen computer. It'll work kind of like a tablet. What am I going to use it for? I have no idea at this point in time. There's been quite a lot of stuff that's been put forward saying you can use it as a control system, you can use it as an ordinary tablet. You can do anything you like with it, really. I'm just wondering if it's gone black because there's not enough power coming through. Well, right enough, the little red light has gone off on the back now. So I'm just wondering whether that means there's not enough power coming off the thing for it to work. Everything else is okay. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the screen getting enough power or if it's a connector issue, but we'll see. But anyway, that seems to work. So what I'll do is I'll verify the connections. Just going to make sure that everything's plugged in properly before I seal it up. I'm not overly sure about this one because I'm not sure whether that's actually plugged in properly. So what I'll do is I'll grab my pliers, which is probably something you're not meant to do with electronics. And just make sure that this plug is fully engaged, which it is, so that's fine. Let's do the same over here. It is indeed. Right, so that's all fully plugged in. The wireless thing here is, I'm assuming, will have to be stuck to the case at some point, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to tuck it down the side of here just now. Let's make sure that's all plugged in properly, which it is. Everything else is connected, so what we'll do, pop our case back on, which as I said can go anywhere around, so I'll make it follow. That's the bit that goes on there. And there we go. One Pine64 in a case. Come on, focus, let's be working here. So there we go. Turn autofocus off while I'm showing you this bit. So we have two USB connectors there. We have an HDMI for piping it to the telly, which I might do at one of these points. Not just now because you won't be able to see it because it won't be on the camera. Micro SD for charging and, well, not charging because it doesn't have a battery in it. One micro USB for power at this stage. And our touchscreen is happily ready to go. So, as I say, I might do a bit of a video in future that has a bit of a play test one, just see how it all works, and I might even pipe it to the telly so I can record it for you. But I hope that was interesting. If you think we get one of these, as I say, I've not really properly tested it yet because I've had a quick play with it while it was test built. But yeah, if you fancy getting one, they are a reasonable price. A 64-bit computer for the price, for about, I think it's 30 quid, something like that. 15 quid for the board and some various bits and pieces that go with it. You can pick up the case for about 20 quid as well. The wireless board, can't remember how much that was, probably about 15 quid as well. Everything's just around about the same price. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed what we've done today, then by all means, oh look, there's me again. I'm going to put something behind that so you can't actually see me. I don't want you seeing me, it's not about me. yeah, if you want to go in there, then have a look at. If you just do a web search for Pine64, I'll put links in the descriptions. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful, and take care.